The star chamber in Castle Precision was an oval room with ivory panels, picked out with gold high mirrors and stained glass windows. It contained a gold organ with Robot Organist by Tiffany, a gold-tooled library with Android Librarian on library ladder, a Louise Quinze desk with Android secretary before a manual memo bead recorder, an American bar with a robot bartender. Precision would have preferred human servants, but androids and robots kept secrets. "Be seated, Captain Yovel," he said courteously. "This is Mr. Regis Sheffield, representing me in this matter. The young man is Mr. Sheffield's assistant." "Bunny's my portable law library," Sheffield grunted. Precision touched the control. The still life in the star chamber came alive. The organist played the librarian sorted books. The secretary typed. The bartender shook drinks. It was spectacular, and the impact, carefully calculated by industrial psychometrists, established control for Precision and put visitors at a disadvantage. "You spoke of a man named Foyle, Captain Yovel?" Precision prompted. Captain Peter Yang Yarvel of Central Intelligence was a lineal descendant of the learned Menicus and belonged to the intelligence tong of the Inner Planet's armed forces. For 200 years, the IPAF had entrusted its intelligence work to the Chinese, who, with a 5,000-year history of cultivated subtlety behind them, had achieved wonders. Captain Yang Yarvel was a member of the dreaded Society of Paper Men, an adept of the Sin Sin Images Makers, a master of superstition, and fluent in the secret speech. He did not look Chinese. Yang Yarvel hesitated, fully aware of the psychological pressure operating behind him. He examined Precision's aesthetic basilisk face, Sheffield's blunt, aggressive expression, and the eager young man named Bunny, whose rabbit features had an unmistakable oriental cast. It was necessary for Yarvel to re-establish control, or effect a compromise. He opened with a flanking movement. "Are we related anywhere within 15 degrees of consanguinity?" he asked Bunny in the Mandarin dialect. "I am one of the house of the learned Meng Se, whom the barbarians called Minicus." "Then we are hereditary enemies," Bunny answered in the faltering Mandarin. "For the formidable ancestor of my line was deposed as governor of Shangtung in 1342 BC by the earth pig Meng Se." "With all courtesy, I shave your ill-formed eyebrows," Yang Yarvel said. "Most respectfully, I singe your snaggle teeth," Bunny laughed. "Come, sirs," Precision protested. "We're reaffirming a 3,000-year blood feud," Yang Yarvel explained to Precision, who looked sufficiently unsettled by the conversation and the laughter which he did not understand. He tried a direct thrust. "When will you be finished with Foyle?" he said. "What Foyle?" Sheffield cut in. "What Foyle have you got?" "There are 13 of that name associated with the clan Precision." "An interesting number. Did you know I was a master of superstition? Someday I must show you the mirror and listen mystery. I refer to Foyle, involved in a reported attempt on Mr. Precision's life this morning." "Precision," Precision corrected. "I am not Mr. I am Precision of Precision." "3 attempts have been made on Precision's life," Sheffield said. "You'll have to be more specific." "3 this morning? Precision must have been busy." Yang Yarvel sighed. Sheffield was proving himself a resolute opponent. The intelligence man tried another diversion. "I do wish our Mr. Presto had been more specific." "Your Mr. Presto?" Precision exclaimed. "Oh, yes. Didn't you know one of your 500 Prestos was an agent of ours?" "That's odd. We took it for granted you'd find out and went ahead with a confusion operation." Precision looked appalled. Yang Yarvel crossed his legs and started to chat breezily. "That's the basic weakness in routine intelligence procedure. You start finessing before finesse is required." "He's bluffing," Precision burst out. "None of our Prestos could possibly have any knowledge of Gulliver Foyle." "Thank you," Yang Yarvel smiled. "That's the Foyle I want. When can you let us have him?" Sheffield scowled at Precision, and then turned on Yang Yarvel. "Who's us?" he demanded. "Central Intelligence." "Why do you want him?" "Do you make love with a woman before or after you take her clothes off?" "That's a damn impertinent question to ask." "And so is yours. When can you let us have Foyle?" "When you show me cause." "To whom?" To me, Sheffield hammered a heavy forefinger against his palms. This is a civilian matter concerning civilians. Unless war material, war personnel, or the strategy and tactics of a war and being are involved, civilian jurisdiction shall always prevail. 303 Terran Appeals 191, murmured Bunny. The Nomad was carrying war material. The Nomad was transporting platinum bullion to Mars Bank, Precision snapped. If money is a... I am leading the discussion, Sheffield interrupted. He swung around on Yang Yavel. Name the war material. This blunt challenge knocked Yang Yavel off his balance. He knew that the crux of the Nomad situation was the presence on board of the ship of 20 pounds of pyre, the total world supply, which was probably irreplaceable now that its discoverer had disappeared. He knew that Sheffield knew that they both knew this. He'd assumed that Sheffield would prefer to keep pyre unnamed, and yet here was the challenge to name the unnameable. He attempted to meet bluntness with bluntness. All right, gentlemen, I'll name it now. The Nomad was transporting 20 pounds of a substance called pyre. Precision started. Sheffield silenced him. What's pyre? According to our reports. From Precision's Mr. Presto? Oh, that was a bluff. Yang Yavel laughed and momentarily regained control. According to intelligence, pyre was developed for Precision by a man who subsequently disappeared. Pyre is a mish metal, a pyrophore. That's all we know for a fact. But we've had vague reports about it. Unbelievable reports from reputable agents. If a fraction of our inferences are correct, pyre could make the difference between a victory and a defeat. Nonsense! No war material had ever made that much difference. No? I cite the fission bomb of 1945. I cite the null G anti-gravity installations of 2022. Talley's all-field radar trip screen of 2194. Material can often make the difference, especially when there's the chance of the enemy getting it first. There's no such chance now. Thank you for admitting the importance of pyre. I admit nothing. I deny everything. Central Intelligence is prepared to offer an exchange. A man for a man. The inventor of pyre for Gully Foyle. You've got him? Sheffield demanded. Then why badger us for Foyle? Because we've got a corpse! Yang Yavel flared. The Outer Satellites Command had him on lasso for 6 months trying to carve information out of him. We pulled him out with a raid at a cost of 79% casualties. We rescued a corpse. Oh, we still don't know if the Outer Satellites are having a cynical laugh at our expense, letting us recapture a body. We still don't know how much they ripped out of him. Precision sat bolt upright at this. His merciless fingers tapped slowly and sharply. Damn it! Yang Yavel stormed. Can't you recognize a crisis, Sheffield? We're on a tightrope. What the devil are you doing back in Precision in this shabby deal? You're the leader of the Liberal Party, Terra's arch-patriot. You're Precision's political arch-enemy. Sell him out, you fool, before he sells us all out. Captain Yavel, Precision broke in with an icy venom. These expressions cannot be countenanced. We want and need pyre, Yang Yavel continued. We'll have to investigate that 20 pounds of pyre, rediscover the synthesis, learn to apply it to the war effort, and all this before the Outer Satellites beat us to the punch, if they haven't already. But Precision refuses to cooperate. Why? Because he's opposed to the party in power? He wants no military victories for the Liberals. He'd rather we lost the war for the sake of politics because rich men like Precision never lose. Come to your senses, Sheffield. You've been retained by a traitor. What in God's name are you trying to do? Before Sheffield could answer, there was a discreet tap on the door of the Star Chamber, and Saul Dagenham was ushered in. Time was when Dagenham was one of the Interplanet's research wizards, a physicist with an inspired intuition, total recall, and a 6th-order computer for a brain. But there was that accident at Tycho Sands, and the fission blast that should have killed him did not. Instead, it turned him dangerously radioactive. It turned him hot. It transformed him into a 25th century typhoid Mary. He was paid 25,000 credits a year by the Interplanet's government to take precautions which they trusted him to carry out. He avoided physical contact with any person for more than 5 minutes per day. He could not occupy any room other than his own for more than 30 minutes a day. Commanded and paid by the IP to isolate himself, Dagenham had abandoned research and built the Colossus of Dagenham Couriers Incorporated. When Yang Yavel saw the short blonde cadaver with leaden skin and a death head smile enter the star chamber, he knew he was assured of defeat in this encounter. He was no match for the three men together. He arose at once. I'm getting an admiralty order for Foyle, he said. As far as intelligence is concerned, all negotiations are ended. From now on, it's war. Captain Yavel is leaving, Precision called to the Jaunt Watch officer who had guided Dagenham in. Please see him out through the maze. Yang Yavel waited until the officer stepped alongside him and bowed. Then, as the man courteously motioned to the door, Yang Yavel looked directly at Precision, smiled ironically, and disappeared with a faint pop. Precision! Bunny exclaimed. He's haunted. This room isn't blind to him. He... Evidently, Precision said icily. Inform the master of the household, he instructed the amazed watch officer. The coordinates of the star chamber are no longer secret. They must be changed within 24 hours. And now, Mr. Dagenham. 1 minute, Dagenham said. There's that admiralty order. Without apology or explanation, he disappeared too. Precision raised his eyebrows. Another party to the star chamber's secret, he murmured. But at least he had the tact to conceal his knowledge until the secret was out. Dagenham reappeared. No point wasting time going through the motions of the maze, he said. I've given orders in Washington. They'll hold Yavel up. 2 hours guaranteed. 3 hours probably. 4 hours are possible. How will they hold him up? Bunny asked. Dagenham gave his deadly smile. Standard FFCC operation of Dagenham Couriers. Fun, fantasy, confusion, catastrophe. We need all 4 hours. Damn, I've disrupted your dolls again, Precision. The robots were suddenly capering in lunatic fashion as Dagenham's hard radiation penetrated their electronic systems. No matter, I'll be on my way. Foyle? Precision asked. Nothing yet. Dagenham grinned his death's head smile. He's really unique. I've tried all the standard drugs and routines on him. Nothing. Outside, he's just an ordinary spaceman, if you forget the tattoo on his face. But inside, he's got steel guts. Something's got a hold of him and he won't give up. What's got a hold of him? Sheffield asked. I hope to find out. How? Don't ask. You'd be an accessory. Have you got a ship ready, Precision? Precision nodded. I'm not guaranteeing there'll be any nomad for us to find, but we'll have to get a jump on the Navy if there is. Law ready, Sheffield? Ready. I'm hoping we won't have to use it. I'm hoping too, but again, I'm not guaranteeing. All right. Stand by for instructions. I'm on my way to crack Foyle. Where have you got him? Dagenham shook his head. This room isn't secure. He disappeared.